Hi AMFishers, I'm Bill Georgopoulos, the host of the AMFisH fishing vlog series. This vlog is where can you fish frog baits and locations on the lake that you can fish frog baits. You can typically fish them anywhere, but when you find a spot like this, I'm going to get a lot of this on camera. Just going to pan around. As you can see right behind me is a ton of lily pads. And on this side, I'm going to get this side as well, I'm in a good pocket of a lot of lily pads. And what I'm actually moving through here very slowly on my kayak is a lot of grass that you'll be able to see as I start to move through. Just going to clean my lens a bit here because I'm getting a little bit of rain. As you can see here, this is just frog heaven. I've had a few missed strikes. Unfortunately, the catch ratio, hookup ratio on frog fishing isn't the best because fish will sometimes strike and miss the bait either ahead of it, behind it, in the middle of it somewhere. But as you can see, all this stuff around me, all these strands of grass. I'm going to pan again a little bit this way so you can take another look. A lot of healthy weed. We're still kind of in the middle of our summer here, so a lot of good growth. Water here is probably about 1.5 to 2 feet deep, possibly a little deeper below the weeds, but these are the spots that you're going to look for to fish those frog baits. And dealing with a little rain and overcast day, I've gone to a little bit darker frog, something not transparent, black legs on it, and it's a black bluish frog, but it gives it that darker profile, so when fish are looking at it from the bottom, they can actually see the frog versus using, a yellow frog that they may not be able to see because they're kind of blinded with the sky being overcast and fairly white. But this here is completely one of the best spots to fish frog baits. This is where frogs live, in the lily pads, in the shallow water, heading off into creeks. So you're going to want to look for areas like this with a lot of brush on them, a lot of grass, again, a lot of lily pads, sunken trees, stuff like that, and just cast out to anywhere. Again, I'm going to pan a little bit this way. I can cast anywhere in this whole area. It actually, see if I can do a quick little 360 here. Right behind me, as you can see as I'm panning, it's all lily pads and grass, and way back there it's even thicker stuff. But just cast those frogs on, cast them way out as far as you can, and just let it hit the water, give it a few seconds, and start popping it very slowly. How I work my frogs is exactly that motion. Let it rest for a few seconds, let the ripples kind of disappear, and then give it a pop, pause, pop, pause, pop, pause. And depending on what frogs you're using, I like using a lot of the scum frog series. Some of them can actually walk the dog if they're structured like this in the head area. And this series here actually has, the scum frog series has a little weight in the back, so the frog actually sits like this, like a natural frog would in the water. Legs dangle nice and low, and you pop it, and you just pop it across like this, but it'll still end up sitting like this because that's where the weight is. And they're very soft, easy to get a good hook set, nice curved up hooks as well. But these are the areas. I've been asked a lot, I fish in open water as well, and I catch fish on frogs. But when I find a haven like this, I mean, this is a good stretch for me, several meters that way and another several back there. But it's healthy, it's nice and green, lily pads are there, I'm seeing some frogs, I'm hearing toads. That is when you're going to want to pull these baits out. And with this little bit of rain, I don't know if I'm catching it too much in the video, but there's little drops of rain coming down. Actually, it's a really good time to go to that top water bite and catch yourself some fish. So again, I thought I'd come into this bay because of the fact that it's completely matted. There's a big matted area in there. I don't even know if I can get in there, but I'm going to try. And I'm going to try and see if I can go a little further back here. But don't miss out on these spots, everyone. Get out there, do that top water bite. It's an exciting bite. It's a very, very exciting bite. And it can be very productive if done correctly. Now, if the day does lighten up, looks like it might break here, and we get some sun, that's where I'm going to switch from this, and I'm going to go to something like a chartreuse frog or a light green frog, possibly even a white frog. That way it catches a little more light from the sun, and the fish can see it a little bit easier. But because it is overcast, I'm still getting a little bit of rain here, I've gone again to something with a darker shade because I want the fish to be able to look at it. On these dark days, they look up, and it's almost kind of that x-ray effect where they look up and they'll kind of see a profile of something, and that's what you want them to see. If they look up and they miss, you know, they may hear or see your chartreuse frog going across the surface, but when they look up, they get lost. The sky right now is a very light gray, complete white. It's matted, so just put, you know, think of that largemouth being below, looking upwards. His mouth is upwards, he's looking, he's hearing something, he's seeing something, and he may strike that lighter frog and miss, whereas if you went to something a little bit darker, you probably would have got him to zone in on that bait a little easier. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Try those frogs and try looking for areas like this. They can be very, very, very productive. Also keep in mind, one note, keep looking for those breaches. Fish coming up, those little pop motions, the suction motions, that's when you know they're actually on the top water bite as well. So that's a very key fact to note when you're out on the water, is look for the top water activity. If I get further in here and I see there's no breaches, there's no top water activity, I'm going to get off this bite. I might drop in a worm, flip out a jig or something like that. But again, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm going to get back into this area and see if I can get myself into some largemouth. See you at my next video vlogs.